Yesterday is not today. Rewriting your story every morning. Welcome to the soft girl era where we're dropping titanium capes and stepping into our power. I recently had the extraordinary privilege of sitting down with Shaqueen Campbell, a force of nature whose wisdom flows like honey sweet, nourishing, and with just enough stick to make sure it stays with you. Shaqueen Campbell isn't just transforming how Black women view their past, present, and future. She's revolutionizing the very language we use to speak to ourselves. With her raspy New York voice that somehow manages to feel like both a battle cry and a lullaby, she's creating space where we can be both soft and strong. Her impact doesn't just ripple through communities, it creates tsunamis of change as she reminds us that our histories don't have to dictate our destinies. Have you ever woken up feeling like you're still carrying yesterday's weight? Like somehow the mistakes, the rejections, the heartbreaks from your past are permanent fixtures in your identity. Like your history has become your destiny. I want you to pause right now, take a breath, and consider this truth that Shaqueen shared with me. Yesterday is not today. Four simple words that can revolutionize everything. Four words that give us permission to begin again every single morning. When I interviewed Shaqueen, she leaned forward, those knowing eyes locked with mine, and said something that sent electricity through the room. No matter what you've been through, every new day is a chance to create a better story for yourself. You are not bound by your past mistakes or circumstances. Let that sink in for a moment. You are not bound by your past mistakes or circumstances. We've all heard the saying that your past doesn't define your future. But how many of us actually live like we believe it? How many of us wake up each morning truly embracing that today is a fresh page, not just another chapter in a story whose ending we think we already know? I'll be honest, I don't always manage it myself. There are mornings when I wake up and yesterday's failures are sitting on my chest before my feet even hit the floor. There are days when old rejections echo so loudly in my mind that I can barely hear today's opportunities knocking. But that's exactly why Shaqueen Campbell's wisdom is so revolutionary. She reminds us that resilience isn't just about enduring hardship, it's about the sacred practice of moving forward, regardless of what tried to hold you back yesterday. Consider Kathy Hughes. Many of you know her as the founder of Urban one of the largest African American owned broadcasting companies in America. But before the empire, before the millions of listeners, before becoming the first African American woman to head a publicly traded company, Kathy was a single mother facing rejection after rejection. In the late 1970s, when she tried to break into radio ownership, she didn't just face closed doors, she faced locked vaults. Banks turned her down for loans 32 times. 32 times. That's not just rejection, that's a systematic attempt to crush a dream. But Kathy Hughes understood something fundamental. Yesterday's no doesn't have to be today's reality. When she finally secured financing for her first station, life threw another curveball. She lost her home. And what did this queen do? She moved into the radio station with her young son. They lived there, sleeping on the floor, showering in the bathroom sink for over a year. Can you imagine that level of commitment? That level of refusing to let yesterday's setbacks define today's possibilities? After being let go from Howard University's radio station, she risked everything on buying her own failing station and turned it around with community focused programming that spoke directly to the needs and experiences of Black listeners who had been ignored by mainstream media. Today, that same woman reaches millions of Black Americans through her media platforms. That same woman who was told no 32 times now sits in the Broadcasting Hall of Fame. That same woman who once washed her son's hair in a bathroom sink now runs a company that has created pathways for countless Black entrepreneurs in media. As Shaqueen would say, now, the ability to keep moving forward regardless of setbacks is what separates those who succeed from those who stay stuck. Kathy Hughes didn't just persevere, she reimagined what was possible each new day. She refused to let yesterday's narrative become today's limitation. But this isn't just about individual triumph, this is about collective liberation. The second powerful truth Shaqueen Campbell shared with me is that community and healing matter, especially in our Black communities. Building unity, showing kindness, and uplifting each other aren't just nice sentiments for Instagram captions. They're practical, powerful tools for transformation. Let me tell you about Ava DuVernay before she became the acclaimed director of Selma, 13th, and When They See Us, before she became the first Black woman nominated for a Best Director Golden Globe. Ava was a film publicist. She didn't pick up a camera until she was 32 years old. Let that marinate. In an industry obsessed with wunderkind directors who've been making films since they were in diapers, Ava decided at 32 that yesterday's career wasn't going to dictate today's possibilities. With no formal training, facing the triple barriers of being Black, being a woman, and being a late starter in an exclusive industry, Ava could have accepted the narrative that some dreams have expiration dates. Instead, she self financed her early films while learning on set. She leveraged community resources and built networks within independent cinema circles. She understood that transformation rarely happens in isolation. After years promoting others' films, she decided it was time to tell stories that reflected her own experiences and those of marginalized communities on screen. She knew that yesterday's stories didn't have to be today's narratives. Today, in through her Array Alliance, she's creating pathways for other diverse filmmakers to tell their stories. She's changed Hollywood's narrative landscape by centering authentic stories about race, resilience, and hope. This is what Shaqueen means when she talks about community as a tool for transformation. Your journey forward isn't just about you, it's about who you bring along, who you lift as you climb. And sometimes the community we need most is one that helps us heal. The Loveland Foundation, founded by Rachel Cargill, embodies this principle perfectly. It began with a simple birthday fundraiser on Instagram that raised $250,000 to provide therapy for Black women and girls. Why was this necessary? Because in many of our communities, mental health still carries stigma because quality, culturally competent therapy remains financially out of reach for too many. Because sometimes yesterday's pain needs professional support to become today's strength. Since its launch in 2018, the Loveland Foundation has helped thousands of Black women and girls access therapy. They've created a national movement prioritizing healing and self care among communities often left behind by mainstream systems. This is what happens when we acknowledge that yesterday's trauma doesn't have to become today's identity, but that transformation sometimes requires support. As Shaqueen Campbell emphasized in our interview, building unity, showing kindness, and uplifting each other are powerful tools for personal and collective transformation. Now, I can already hear some of you thinking, That's nice for Kathy Hughes and Ava DuVernay, but my yesterday was really heavy. My yesterday has receipts. My yesterday has consequences that don't just disappear because I want them to. I hear you, and Shaqueen hears you too. This isn't about toxic positivity or pretending that systemic barriers don't exist. This isn't about ignoring very real consequences or dismissing genuine grief. This is about recognizing that even within constraints, even with baggage, even with scars, you still have the power to write today differently than yesterday. Maybe today doesn't look like founding a media empire or directing an award winning film. Maybe today looks like forgiving yourself for that mistake you keep replaying. Maybe it looks like sending that application, even though you were rejected last time. Maybe it looks like reaching out for therapy, even though your family doesn't believe in mental health support. Small steps still move you forward. And forward movement, as Shaqueen reminds us, is the key to transformation. Your yesterday doesn't have to dictate your today. These words from Kathy Hughes aren't just inspirational, they're instructional. They're a blueprint for living. As Black women, we've often been told to be strong, to push through, to carry the weight without complaint. The soft girl era is about recognizing that true strength sometimes looks like putting down yesterday's burdens. True power sometimes looks like vulnerability. True progress sometimes looks like rest. So I challenge you today, not just to hear these words, but to live them. To wake up tomorrow and declare to yourself, yesterday is not today. I challenge you to identify one thing from your past that you've been allowing to define your present, one rejection, one failure, one heartbreak, and consciously choose to write a new story about it. I challenge you to reach out to someone in your community who might be carrying yesterday's weight alone and remind them that they don't have to. I challenge you to consider what healing might look like for you, whether that's therapy, community support, creative expression, or simply giving yourself permission to begin again. Because when you embrace that yesterday is not today, you become a living testament to what's possible. You become a beacon for others still trapped in their yesterdays. You become part of a movement that transforms not just individual lives, but communities, systems, and ultimately the world. This isn't just about personal redemption, it's about collective revolution. It's about creating a world where everyone gets to wake up to the radical possibility of a new day, unburdened by the weight of what came before. Yesterday is not today. Today is yours to write. And tomorrow is waiting for the story only you can tell. Thank you.